Hello, my name is Michael Lambert, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about something where we are now definitely world leaders, where I think we're acknowledged throughout the world as being world leaders, and that is in stupidity. I think we're seen generally throughout the world as being the stupidest population with the stupidest government, and by far and away the stupidest Prime Minister ever, doing the stupidest things ever because frankly, everything's out of control, and it's not only Brexit, it's Covid. Everything is just going to pieces. Everybody can see that, but of course the government are not going to change direction at all, not one little bit. Oh no. Now I'd like to begin by defining stupidity, because stupidity is really the absence of intellect and common sense. Now, we all know of people who are very, very clever, but they just haven't got any common sense. And common sense has nothing to do with what sort of job you're doing or what sort of education you had. It's just something you either have it or you don't have it, or you have it in varying measures. And unfortunately, with a Prime Minister who has so little common sense and so little intellect, despite being extremely well educated, extremely knowledgeable, and having a fantastic vocabulary and an amazing wit and so on, despite all that, he's somebody who hasn't got the intellect to make decisions. He doesn't know about making decisions. That's why he relies on other people to advise him. And he surrounded himself with this unbelievably second-rate government. As you remember, before the last election, he insisted that anybody standing as a Conservative candidate would have to be pro-Brexit. And so all these people in the cabinet now, 9 of them, Sajid Javid, I've got the list here, Ben Wallace, Alex Sharma, Liz Truss, Theresa Coffey, Grant Shapps, Brandon Lewis, Simon Hart and Oliver Dowden, all of them were pro-Remain, campaigned for Remain and voted Remain. There's even that picture of Liz Truss with her silly smile stood in front of a stand covered in pro-Remain stickers, and her wearing a little badge, I'm in, and all this sort of stuff, and her tweeting about how she didn't want her daughters growing up in a Europe where they couldn't just move around and go and work freely. And all the rest of them, the rest of them was just the same, all pro-Brexit. And then come the election, they say, oh, no, fair enough, if you want us to change, what have we got to say? We're now pro-Brexit. Oh, okay, right, yep, fine. And they're all thinking we're going to get a ministerial car and we're going to be called Right Honourable. I mean, that's how weak and how pathetic these people are. The chance of being called Right Honourable and having a ministerial car was enough for them to change a matter of absolute vital importance, the most important decision ever. But they're all prepared to just change. And now they're all saying what a wonderful thing Brexit is. Although, frankly, I think they find it quite difficult to say that any longer. And so that's 9 out of your 21 members of the cabinet, who are they don't believe in what they are promoting. They don't believe in Brexit, and they can see it all going wrong. And I think they've all misjudged, because what they thought was that there'd be some teething problems, and that eventually it would all sort itself out, and that within a year or two everything would be forgotten. What they didn't realise was, of course, this was pretty obvious to anybody with half a brain, was that it was going to be an absolute disaster. It inevitably was going to be a disaster for so many reasons, which we've explored before. But let's have a look at some of the other members of the cabinet, the pro-Brexit lot. 7 out of 5 members of the cabinet are children of immigrants, and 5 of those voted to control the immigration that their parents had benefited from. And just have a look at them. Rishi Sunak, now he's one of the few in the cabinet, I would say, who's not actually stupid at all. I think he's probably very clever. I think he's keeping his powder dry. I think he's got his eye on the top job, and he's just laying low, because I think he must reckon that sooner or later Johnson's going to go, and he probably believes, like I do, that it's going to be pretty soon, and he's going to be favourite to take over. He's relatively popular because for the last 2 years he's been giving away money, what with furlough and what with grants to businesses and all the rest of it. But as a result of, well, not as a result of that, but as a result of the pandemic and so on, he's going to have to increase taxes a lot, especially since so many businesses are struggling and tax revenue is going to be so much less than it had been in the past. So we're going to see tax rises. Whether his popularity is going to be quite what it is when taxes go up is another matter. The second person in the cabinet is the Lord Chancellor, Dominic Raab. Now, I don't really have to say anything about him, do I? I mean, just talk about dim, it's not doesn't begin to start, does it? This is the guy who, when he was made our chief negotiator for Brexit, and one of the first things he said, knowing that the EU was responsible for 45% of our trade at that time, knowing that all those billions of pounds worth of goods had to go across from the UK to Europe and had to come back from Europe to the UK, said he hadn't realised how important the Dover-Calais crossing was. He's the guy who thinks women being rude about men is misogyny. I mean, you know. Then there's the Home Secretary, isn't it? Patel. And I made a separate video about her some months ago, and it was the most successful video I've posted yet, because I showed all the reasons why she was just a terrible, terrible woman. The woman, in my view, is she may not be stupid, but she's as good as a psychopath as you'll find anywhere. She's a woman who, as Home Secretary, her first reaction to anything is punishment and restrictions. All she wants to do is punish people and restrict people. She's tearing her hair out now because she cannot find a way of punishing these people, these desperate asylum seekers coming across the channel. Dreadful, dreadful, dreadful woman. There's Kwasi Kwarteng, isn't there? Now he's a man who gives the impression that whoever he's talking to, he gives the impression he's talking to rather dim children who he dislikes. He has that air of contempt and I know, superiority about him. He's another old Etonian. And he's brilliant academically, absolutely brilliant. He got a scholarship to Eton, double first from Cambridge, he studied at Harvard. And got a clue about business, which is of course why he's business secretary. Not a clue. He went round the television studios, didn't he, a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying there's no way, it was last week I think, no way that we were going to bring back any restrictions for COVID. Oh no, everything's going to be just the same. He recommended that workers should start planning their Christmas parties because it's all going to be fine. And I don't know, I mean, I don't know about him. There's Michael Gove, isn't there? Again, he's somebody he's quite clever. He's not stupid by any means. He again is keeping a lowish profile. I'm pretty sure he's got his eye on the top job, and in fact everybody knows he's got his eye on the top job, and there's every likelihood he might get it. The only problem is, of course, he's a bit slippery. He's involved, I think, in having recommended quite a lot of either PPE or test and trace companies for contracts which they eventually got, and there's no doubt that's going to come up in any campaign he might run to become leader. And you've got also, but you've got people like, I mean, Nadine Dorries is a cabinet minister. You've got Frost. I've said so much about Lord Gormless. I mean, he just must be the dimmest man who's ever sat in a cabinet. This is a man who negotiated a deal which within 3 months he decided he didn't like and wanted to renegotiate. He's a man who thinks the way you negotiate with other parties is that you just insult them as much as you can, and you do everything you can to annoy them. That's being smart. This man is so stupid it's unbelievable. And finally, talking about senior politicians, there's the absolutely awful, patronising, supercilious twit, Rees-Mogg. This is a man who, again, like the Prime Minister, is very well educated, very knowledgeable, knows a lot about the classics. And yeah, he probably knows a lot of history and all the rest of it. He's very articulate. But he's stupid. He's really, really stupid. This is the guy who said, just before the last election, he said that the people who died in Grenfell were, well, served them right really, because they were too stupid not to disobey the fire brigade when the fire brigade told them to stay where they were to await rescue. He said they were too stupid. That was the reason why he was kept out of the election campaign. He's the man who said he thought food banks were rather splendid. And last week, when it came to the question of the wearing masks in Parliament, what was it he said? He said that Tory members of Parliament didn't need to wear masks because of their, I've got it written down here somewhere, their convivial, fraternal spirit. Now I want to say a bit about these masks, because I think that statement of Rees-Mogg's, that arrogance of saying that we don't need to wear masks. Yeah, we all know each other. It's for ordinary people to wear masks. This is the guy who kept telling us that we were all going to get cheaper food, clothing and footwear. What happened to that, eh? But this whole thing of masks, the whole thing of the Covid, which is exemplified by that stupid remark of Rees-Mogg's. We are, as everybody knows, I mean, our number of new cases, it's now 50,000 a day, 100,000 every 2 days, new cases. A lot of those people will be fine. A lot of them have mild symptoms. Some will be very seriously ill. Some may even die. But according to such a job, mercifully, only 200 people every couple of days are dying. Every 100 people a day, 150 people a day are dying. But the number of new cases, which now stands at 50,000, could be as much as 100,000 in a month or two. Could be even more. So whatever number are dying now, could be twice as many in a month's time. Could be much more than that. But mercifully, it's only just over 100 every day at the moment. Aren't we doing well? And that's all, of course, we're doing so well because we managed to get out the vaccines before everybody else, and the NHS administered them very quickly and efficiently. So that's why we're doing so well. So well that with no rules about wearing masks, no rules about social distancing, no working from home advice, we are consistently, every day, the second or third in the world highest number of new cases of Covid. It's completely out of control. But as Kwarteng said, as Sajid Javid said, as the Prime Minister said, we don't want to bring back any controls. The new woman for doing the vaccines, what she called Maggie Throop, Maggie Throop, she said, it's a matter of choice. I'll quote her. She said, "We're not the sort of country that tells you what to wear." Crash helmets? Seatbelts? What's the difference? We're not the sort of country to tell you what to wear, to tell you to wear masks. So if you don't want to wear a mask, don't. Just like all the Tory MPs, don't, it's fine. It'll spread Covid more quickly, or it'll risk spreading it, it'll risk other people getting ill. You might get ill yourself. Some people may die as a result of no one wearing masks. But we don't want to tell you what to do. It's just, up to you. Now we all know that within a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, within a month, they're going to bring back all these restrictions. We're going to bring back compulsory masks, and they'll bring back social distancing. They'll probably have us working from home. Might even have another lockdown. And what they'll say, I'll tell you exactly what they'll say. They'll say, we always said that if circumstances change, we would have to bring these things back. I mean, how stupid do these people look? How stupid can you be to say, we're not going to bring any regulations back about masks? The medical profession, the scientists, the newspapers even are telling us we should do something, but we're not going to do it anyway because we don't want to back down, because the Prime Minister, the biggest fool of all, the stupidest man of all, has decided he doesn't want to bring back masks and social distancing. And this brings me back to Johnson, because despite, as I said before, him being extremely well educated, extremely knowledgeable about the classics, and being able to pepper all of his comments and speeches with words that nobody's ever heard of and has to look up in the dictionary because it makes him look clever, this man is a complete fool. He is really, really stupid, and he's pursuing this stupidity for his own gain, because he's only interested in his own career. And so we're stuck with this mess, and we're stuck with an economy which is collapsing. We were told when we left the EU that it would enable us to do foreign trade deals, wouldn't it? Lots of new trade deals. The whole world's queuing up, banging our doors down to do deals with us. And what do we got? A small deal with Japan, which benefits Japan much more than it benefits us. We got a deal with Australia, didn't we? Fantastic. That fell through. Despite having one of our best retired cricketers as our trade envoy. Fell through. Now, excitement. We've got a deal with New Zealand, which, if all goes well, if it's successful, can't guarantee it, but if it's very successful, could add 1/5% to our GDP in due course, whilst at the same time probably destroying our UK lamb industry, lamb business, lamb farming sector. And so under the leadership of this clown, Johnson, we are just careering out of control, whilst everyone looks at us and says, how can these people be so stupid? How is it possible to be so stupid? And with all these stupid politicians in Parliament, I mean, one of the reasons that they're such a pathetic government is that Johnson expelled from the Tory party all the intellectuals, a lot of the intellectuals, because they wouldn't vote to, or they wanted to vote to delay Brexit. You remember? Ken Clarke and Philip Hammond and Rory Stewart and Dominic Raab, all expelled because they wouldn't go along with Johnson's rush to get Brexit done quickly. And so we're left with all these dregs, including Nadine Dorries and Lord Gormless, looking after us all. It is going so badly at the moment that it cannot last. It just simply can't go on like this. I don't know what quite is going to tip things over the edge, but it's coming. It's coming. There's just so much going wrong. Anyway, look out for the U-turn on COVID. It's coming any day. And apart from that, it doesn't help us. If you watched that far, thank you very much for watching, and if you approve of what I've had to say, please like and subscribe. I would much appreciate it. And until next time, bye for now.